what I'm saying is that if for instance, if Japan had a huge African population in it, it might not
Hmm.
be Japanese in another generation.
As long as that happened via voluntary race mixing, I don't care because it was voluntary. Like my very existence,
Well,
a
no, I'm
white
not. I'm
woman
not.
fell in
I'm
love with
not.
a non-white man, and here I exist.
No, I'm not. I'm not disparaging. What I'm saying is, can you erect immigration policies to preserve culture? The impression, classically, people have said that this is a perfectly legitimate thing to do.
Mhm.
Like
I don't. I
classically,
don't.
right? Like
I don't
until
endorse
very recently.
immigration based on racial or ethnic quotas. I do not endorse that. Defending ethnic racial quotas, I don't endorse that.
So
To say that it matters whether Japan is more African in 50 years is to say that somehow Africans and Japanese are not the same species. And that's not
no, it's just to
accurate.
say the different cultures, right?
Oh, well,
Why
they'll
why why does
adapt.
every I totally respect that we need to have spaces that are multicultural. I think that's a
Mhm.
necessary part of the global world.
Mhm.
But to my mind, we should have some countries that are multicultural and some cultures that are monocultural.
I
You
don't
know,
think
I
that,
don't see
I
why
don't,
every state has to be multicultural. I think that why couldn't we have a diversity in the world of different approaches on this matter? Why does every country have to have an open immigration policy?
no, I'm not saying open immigration. I'm saying if people naturally migrate to Japan and they mix with the people there, then I don't have any kind of moral case to make against that.
No, well, I'm
If
saying
Japan says we are not
I
going
don't
to,
I'm not I think Japan is perfectly moral as a country too. I'm defending Japan.
if Japan says they don't want to take any immigrants, that's up to them. Now, if they say we are only
Okay.
going to accept
Well, that's
certain
great.
immigrants and exclude other immigrants, now you have a problem because it's discrimination. It's saying we're going to let some people in and then we're going to turn people away for things that they can't change, like being black. And
Well, I mean
unfortunately,
this
that's
is
not
or
something that
being
I
not
endorse.
if I said that if you're of Japanese ancestry, you have a right to return to Japan, like Israel does, right? Israel says that technically we don't allow any immigrants, but we make an exception, not
Mm-hmm.
against anybody, but for the country that this is, right? So we say we're positively saying that we
Okay.
guarantee you that if you're Jewish, and
Okay.
Japan says
Once,
positively guarantee you this. I don't see a problem with that. I think that I mean, that's just what they want to do, right? To preserve their culture. And like, I don't see a problem with a world that has states like Japan and states like Brazil and perhaps California, right? Like,
mm.
perhaps different people could do different things in this regard, right?
See, but right of return is a slippery slope, isn't it? Because there should be right of return for Mexicans in California, Arizona, Texas, I guess, right?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we could make that kind of argument, but
Right.
I would actually, I'm a radical. I'm not some defender of the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I personally think that the solution
Mm-hmm.
is essentially give the alt right Indian reservations.
No.
Like, why not? I mean, if they want to go off into the desert and make their little like ethno states, why not? Why not stop them?
If you learn anything from Nazi Germany is if you give white nationalists a state, they're going to consolidate power and then start invading other places. They're not isolationists. They always claim to be isolationists, and then they automatically want to go take over the world because they're liberating other white people again. This has all been tried
But it's
before.
we give. So you're saying, I'm sorry, but how is this not a racist argument? You're saying that it's all right for some races to have isolated communities, but it's not all right for other races because by their very nature of their race, they'll invade other places. I don't. That sounds
No, not
somehow
by. I
wrong to me.
said the word white nationalist, not white people. If you give fascists with a racial identity land of their own, they will just consolidate power in that one place and then start invading outward. If
So
they were black
if we gave
nationalists,
black nationalists like Farrakhan an Indian
yeah,
reservation, we couldn't do
yeah.
that.
If he's the moral leader of that movement, yeah, he's
Let's
not
say
just
that
going to
he
step
dies and there's
there.
a new moral leader of black separatists.
If that
We
person
couldn't
has
give
the
them.
same If that person has the same philosophy as Farrakhan, then yeah, he's going to stage a campaign to liberate black people from Jewish influence.
What would be necessary for you to see in order to feel comfortable giving someone the opportunity to have a separatist state?
I don't endorse separatists.
The way that we do for tribes of Native Americans.
Indians don't have a separatist state. They're being allowed to stay on their own land.
Yeah,
they're not being given a
have
state.
Certain cordoned off areas that they functionally control property sales in, right? Which would be, to my, I'm trying to be conciliatory here, right? I live in a multicultural area. I love it. I think it's great, right? Yeah. But I'm saying that for people who don't like that, I don't see a problem for letting them do their own thing.
It's very easy for a white nationalist to find an ethnically homogenous area to move into and not and live and die without seeing a single black person in rural America. It's very simple.
Well,
you don't need a state.
So what are you worried about? If it already exists in the present system, then
because I don't want it by law. Because we've had white land by law in this country before, and didn't go well for the people who weren't white. Remember?
I think what we're saying is that we could cordon off specific.
We had redlining. We had racial discrimination.
No, I'm not proposing this as something that we would impose upon multicultural spaces. What I'm saying is for people who do not like multicultural spaces, allowing them to leave. I think that would just be, why would I want to compel somebody who doesn't want to live in multicultural spaces?
So let them move to a conservative gated community in Texas that already exists. But because not form their own state.
You know the answer to this, right? I mean, there's legislative pressure to dismantle these communities. So, okay, that this is a complaint from these people, right?
Yeah. But fuck those people.
Well, but this contradicts your thing. So, do people have an ability to not participate in multiculturalism, or do they have to? Because I'm for multiculturalism. Like, I think it's
those people don't care about multiculturalism,
right?
American white nationalists aren't concerned about culture.
Well, my Americans don't have a different black nationalists because I think that
same deal.
Why should multiculturalism be mandatory? This seems to sort of go against the anti-authoritarianism thing you were saying earlier.
I'm not saying it's mandatory, but I'm just saying that under the existing system, people. You can't. I don't support people being marginalized or excluded because of their race, religion, ethnicity. I don't. I didn't create the system.
Well, no. I'm not proposing. I'm not proposing that I'm proposing giving people an out. I'm not proposing that that laws be imposed on multicultural spaces. I think that San Francisco and New York and all of the major epicenters of this country, they'll always be multicultural at this state. What I'm saying is that if you don't like this, I think you should have an option to leave and have your own.
Yeah, they do have an option to leave. They have an option to leave and go to a different country. Go back to Europe.
Well, no, because those laws exist in Europe now.
Oh, too. Well.
Okay, I feel like we're saying that that multiculturalism is enforced. We're just not admitting it.
I don't have control over the global.
We're talking about what should
state
be, right?
Apparatus, right?
In your ideal form of anarchism, where everyone can do what they want, it seems that by your own principles, you should let people have their own cultural groups that are separate.
Anarcho-Communism doesn't include separatists, sir. That's the communism bit on the end.
I guess perhaps I'm not understanding this because I'm not a racialist, but I am, in some sense, a separatist in a religious fashion, right?
If you participated in a communist, in an anarcho-communist commune, you're going to kind of get awkward stares when you talk about how you want the whites to be separate.
Well, I'm asking that if I could get together with other of my fellow co-religionists and create a separatist community. Could I do that in your system?
Depends.
On what?
Everybody, the first rule of the system is that there's no unjustified hierarchy. You'd have to justify the separation. You'd have to justify the separation. You have to justify.
Why do I have to justify it? I just want to do it. Why do I have to justify what I want to you in order to be?
That you want to remain in the group or
authority, right? I have
no, but it's
not participating in your group.
Not to me, to the group itself. You want to remain in the group. You need to justify to the group.
Catholics who want to create their own community separate from people who are not us. Can I do that? Like, what do I need to do? Everyone in my group of Catholics agrees that we don't want to be part of your group anymore.
And you have an anarcho-Catholic communist commune. As long as everybody agrees. But, you know.
Okay. And I could do that. No, I'm not this, but another person could do that with black people. He's like, I just want to create my own little African American community. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I don't know. You gotta remember that once people start in grouping, they start out grouping, and then that goes to a bad place. Listen, I gotta tap out. I'm
all right,
30 minutes past.
Thank you very much.
We'll if you want, we'll